Gary Johnson here for BlackMenInAmerica.com. We're on the set of the movie Guppy, G-U-P-I, which stands for Guilty Until Proven Innocent. It's a new movie by Director Janks Morton about how the court system is unfairly biased and stacked against good men who pay their child support, who only want to see their children. We're going to give you some backstage looks and some insights with regard to the making of the movie Guppy. All right, we're on the set of Guppy, Guilty Until Proven Innocent, with Janks Morton, award-winning filmmaker. Janks, tell us about Guppy. What does it mean to you?
Guppy is going to be an emotional roller coaster to expose the gender biases inside of three systems specifically: the child services system, or family services, divorce courts, and social work. And when I say gender biases, these systems operate from a place or a space where there is preferential treatment given to women as opposed to men. Truly, in my perception, it is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. A bit lofty conversation you let the lawyers hash out, but unfortunately, the conversations that we have in the barbershop, when I say we, I'm talking about men, never leave the barbershop. Some of these just gut-wrenching stories of what's happening to men falsely persecuted through these systems, ultimately leaving their children as casualties of war.
All right, now, when people watch this movie, when they walk out of the theater, what do you want them to feel?
Well, I'm big on this. Here it is. I'm taking a different approach than I normally do. I'm usually like, I love logic, I love analysis, data, statistics. The reason why I believe that a lot of the activists around this issue have lost the war is because they operate from that same space. And it's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. If you come in armed with logic, reason, analysis, and data to an emotional current that's in this place, it's a very emotional and tumultuous situation that these divorces and child support situations are. You will lose 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. When audiences leave this movie, for the first time, I'm going to show the emotion from a man's lens, because too often that thing it's bottle capped and it's tucked away and it's put in. And these men truly have a love for their children. Now, they may not have that same type of love for their children's mother or spouse, but they do have an unswerving commitment, and it's to show that these men, unlike the way the president says, they're absentee or they're not stepping up. These men have been beat down, and it's such the hard part is that they have beaten down so much that at this juncture they have given up. They say, between the money, the lawyers, the pain, the arguing, the fighting, the struggle, it's not that I don't love you, child, but I don't want to see you have you see this. But more importantly, it is killing me. And it's not that I've done everything humanly possible up to almost death to try to keep our relationship intact. But this system and the players in this system have done everything to divide us.
One last question for now. What inspired you to make this movie?
It's going to be the opening segment of the film. I can give it away. Here's a Black Men in America exclusive. How's that?
That's what we're talking about.
Last summer, I got pulled over by the police officers because I have a car that's very black, tinted windows, and has what black men think on the back of it. So I get pulled over a lot just for whatever. The officer comes up to me, driver's license, registration, all that, blah, blah, blah. Goes back, runs a little thing, comes back to me and says, did you know your driver's license is suspended? And I'm not the brightest bulb on the tree or the sharpest blade in the drawer. I didn't know. I was like, no, I didn't know. I'll fix it tomorrow. And he said, well, here's the question. Are you past due on your child support? I took offense to that in whoever's mind, legal, law enforcement, judicial, whatever, the first perception of a man whose license is suspended is that he is in the rears in his child support. That those two systems are connected was disturbing to me. One, with the perception and the stereotype that went along with, because I am black last time I checked, to put that in that context, being asked by a black man too, which really disturbed me. And knowing the data and the statistics that most black men pay their child support, for him to come off of his mouth like that with me, moved me. And being on tour for the past couple of years, I've heard stories. I've heard some horror stories. So this is an opportunity for, it's not me to expose that, but to launch a different conversation or to reframe this. And ultimately, all I want is when two people decide that they can no longer be together, I wouldn't even like it that they stand before the judge, but when they decide to go their separate ways, custody is not a function of gender. It should be shared. It took two people to make a child, and it takes two people to raise a child. And these systems are wholly invested in pitting people against each other for their own profit.
All right, more with Janks Morton when we come back.